there's there's a funny thing about the NBA come around this time of year, the following weeks after the NBA Finals ends. It's where NBA fans get so thirsty to the point where they have to have something to talk about because the season has just ended. And so far this year, that has revolved around the Brooklyn Nets and the supposed belief that Kyrie Irving will not be back on the Brooklyn Nets. And that also leads into Kevin Durant's future as well. A lot of rumors have been going around, and I'm sure that this isn't going to be something that gets hashed out anytime soon. So, Jacob, what are your thoughts on this whole ongoing situation right now?
Um, I don't know. I know earlier in the season, it's like James Harden was the problem, I guess. But now you kind of see it's other things that add into it, I guess.
He was the scapegoat. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Uh, but I don't know. I think it is crazy. I don't see KD leaving the Nets. I can see Kyrie leaving. I really think he might end up on the Lakers. But I think if KD did go anywhere, it'd be Miami, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as of 6:57 Saturday, a few hours ago, there was an Instagram story that was posted by one Damian Lillard,
Right.
where is a photo of Kevin Durant photoshopped into a Portland Trailblazers uniform alongside Damian Lillard. Yusuf Nurkic reposted on Twitter, and I'll just say, as a fan of the team whose players are doing that, I don't really like it. I don't really like them doing that yet, just because, man, if you've got to know that this is going to be a thing before you release to
You
the
advertise
public.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of my belief of why he did it was to show Kevin Durant that, hey, we're locked in on you if you're locked in on us.
Right.
You've got a home here if you feel neglected other places, because the narrative that's supposedly around him right now, which I'm sure front offices don't feel the same way as the media do,
Yeah.
but we're here for you, Kevin, basically. And I can speak on a personal level to that, because Kevin Durant was the first player to get me into the game of basketball. I started watching basketball around 2010, 2011, and the first jersey that I ever owned that I wanted was a Kevin Durant Oklahoma City Thunder jersey. Now, of course, my feelings for him kind of wavered after the whole Golden State
Yeah.
thing, but as a basketball player, Kevin Durant is still my I still highly regard Kevin Durant as one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah. I know some news about Kyrie too. It was he made a list of teams he was interested in. I believe it was the Lakers, Clippers, Mavericks, Sixers, and I think that was it. And New York, the Knicks.
Yeah.
As a
Oh,
Philly fan,
basically, let me say this real fast. Basically, all the big market teams.
yeah. And as a Philly fan, I can say that I don't think we want him. It might just be me, but I we already have James, and apparently they didn't get along in Brooklyn. So I don't see how that would work together. But I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I saw this graph yesterday of the last 3 years of Kyrie Irving. He's played less than 50% of the games, and it was one of those red green charts that showed green as the games that he played and red as the games that he didn't. Overwhelmingly red on that chart.
Yeah, he's
So,
missed. He's the last 3 seasons. He's missed more than he's played by quite a lot, I think.
and of course, a lot of that has to do with the whole vaccine mandate thing,
All right.
which hopefully is past us. But yeah, Kyrie is definitely a risk to be taken these days. Maybe front offices see him as that, but I mean, his greatness can't be denied.
True. Yeah. Still one of the top point guards in the league. It's just his availability through the season.
Right. Well, I just wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. Trying to address the elephant in the room. I kind of like to do that at the start of the episodes, to just go ahead and get the biggest topic knocked out. So let's move on to the draft, man. The draft was on Thursday night. Um, maybe not as entertaining as we had expected it to be trades
Right.
wise, but we saw some teams move up. We saw some
And
rotational pieces be moved for picks. But Jacob, what were your overall takeaways from the draft Thursday?
my overall takeaways are I don't know if the Kings or the Knicks know what they're doing when it comes to drafting or in general. Um, but besides that, I think everybody got a player that fit them well, fit what they're trying to do. A few trades that happened. I know New York got 3 first-round picks, or that was a whole Jalen Duren trade thing of one
That was
team then the
weird.
next, and didn't know who went where. But I think most of the teams did pretty good during the draft.
Yeah. Well, I've got a list here of who the three teams that I thought were the big winners of the draft. And coming in at third place, I thought it was the Houston Rockets. I thought the Houston Rockets nailed it with this draft. Being able to take Jabari Smith Jr. at number 3, who up until about an hour
Yeah,
before the draft, he was
projected number
expected
one.
to be taken number 1 by the Orlando Magic. But of course, he falls, and Oklahoma City has their sights set on Chet Holmgren. They're not going to change that. So he falls to 3 to Houston, and I like how he fits that team. I like how he fits with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. And if they want to keep Jayshawn Tate, Jabari Smith is he's a really good shooter, good defender, good shot blocker. And I think he's got potential to really raise the ceiling of that young Rockets team.
Yeah.
But along with Jabari Smith, man, they take Tari Eason with the 17th pick, who's
Yeah.
a guy I was pretty high on. Another forward who's got long arms, can really defend. He's a professional scorer. I thought that he was really a steal for them at 17, and they picked Ty Washington at the end of the first round, who probably shouldn't have fallen that far. As they picked him at 29, Ty Washington is a solid playmaker. He can score, get in the paint. And I thought the Rockets really killed it with their draft.
Yeah, I think Tata was projected before the 20th or like 22nd, before the
Yeah,
22nd, I think. And I heard Easton was a steal. Whichever team got him was getting a steal in the draft.
yeah. Those guys, I watched them a lot throughout the college basketball season because they're both SEC guys.
Yeah.
And they really stood out. They really stood out to me. I was pleased to see that the Rockets were able to take them both. Coming in at second place was the Oklahoma City Thunder. Um, I thought the Thunder killed it as well. Maybe a little bit of a high risk, high reward draft, but
Yeah.
taking Chet Holmgren at number 2, who I know a lot of people have their questions about, but I mean, as I addressed last episode, I think Chet Holmgren is going to be great. I think he's in this system. I think fits him the best out of
Yeah.
any of the top 3 teams. And I think that Sam Presti and Mark Dagnall, who might not be the coach for long, but I think that they are really going to buy into Chet Holmgren and see that his development comes about.
Yeah, I think the only downfall most people have is just his size. But I mean, today's game is like size matters, but not as much as it used to, I feel like.
Yeah. And they also talking about that trade with the New York Knicks. The Thunder trade up at number 11 to take Ousmane Dieng, who is kind of unknown to a lot of people in the NBA realm, which he's coming from New Zealand. I didn't know a whole lot about him myself. I'm interested to see how his game translates to the league. But he's a high risk, high reward guy. He's like a 6'9", 6'10" forward.
Mhm.
And I mean, the Thunder are really stacking up with
Versatile
wing,
guys. Yeah.
wing and big length, and they've got a myriad of those guys now. And with the 12th pick, they picked Jalen Williams, shooting guard Jalen Williams, not power forward Arkansas Jalen Williams, but they picked him too in the second round actually,
Yeah.
which is pretty funny. But shooting guard Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara. I like him. I like him on the Thunder. I think he'll be able to crack the rotation pretty early on, and
Yeah, I saw some.
provide good minutes.
Yeah, I saw some highlights of him earlier today, and said he can shoot the ball pretty well, make plays for himself, and get to the rim decently, pretty good.
Yeah. So I thought I thought the Thunder drafted very well, and I also like that they didn't. I also like that they dished out some of their picks finally
Yeah,
to be able to move up and select those guys. I think we'll be seeing them do more of that over the next couple of years, just because they have 100 million picks
yeah.
to distribute.
I think it's like 14 or 15 over the next 3 years or 4 years, something like that. First round picks, I
Some
think.
yeah, some ungodly number. But at number one, this team only made 2 first-round picks, and they had a second-round pick who I'm unfamiliar with, but they're 2 first-round picks. They knocked it out of the park,
Yeah, I already
and
know.
that's the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah,
The Detroit Pistons knocked it out of the park. For Jaden Ivey to fall to them at 5 was just the biggest blessing that they could have asked for. Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham in that backcourt is just such a good fit. I mean, it's yet to be seen, but ideally, the idea of having Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham in the backcourt together, just I'm excited to watch the Detroit Pistons play basketball,
yeah.
and for them to also trade up for Jalen Duren, a guy who they had said that
I
at the
think he
5th
was.
pick they had thought
Yeah,
about taking at number
yeah,
5. For them to get him at 13, man, they killed it with those 2 picks. I think that they'll fit great alongside Cade Cunningham and Sadiq Bey. Um, the Jeremy Grant trade looked kind of puzzling a few days ago,
mm,
but with the way that Troy Weaver and the Detroit Pistons killed it in the draft, um, he I guess made up for what maybe the Jeremy Grant trade lacked.
yeah,
So I thought the Pistons killed it, and I mean all of this is yet to be seen, but yeah, those are my big winners of the draft, man. Um, I've got a list of some second round guys who maybe shouldn't have dropped that far. Some guys who I see as steals. I've got 5 of them here, so I'll start with kind of the most surprising one, with Jaden Hardy falling to the Dallas Mavericks at 37.
mm,
Jaden Hardy, a G League Ignite guy, just a professional scorer. And immediately, whenever they made this pick, the first thing that it made me think of is that he is the replacement for Jalen Brunson.
right.
I think that he fits that mold, and he's also 6'4", so he's bigger than Jalen Brunson. For them to get him at 37, such a big steal, in my opinion. And I think it does open the door for maybe an inevitable situation of Jalen Brunson walking out. But I like how they were able to salvage that situation.
Yeah, I do too. I think he was projected in the 20s, early 20s, late 20s, but
Hmm.
he did fall second round, so that was a steal.
Yeah. For my second guy, I have a guy who I projected to go to this team in the 20s, um, was Kennedy Chandler to the Memphis Grizzlies. Um, I just think it's a match made in heaven. We all, especially around these parts, know of his connection with Ja Morant.
Yeah,
They've been friends for a while, and I just thought anyway his play style. I think Kennedy Chandler's play style, especially if you're going to lose a guy like Tyus Jones, I think Kennedy Chandler is a good guy who you can plug and play, who provides good playmaking, who
mm,
is he doesn't do a whole lot of things wrong. He's just really solid, and you know what you're going to get from Kennedy Chandler. And I thought that that's who they would take at 22. I thought they would take him at 22 whenever they traded up for Jake LaRavia, for Kennedy Chandler to fall to them at 38. It was really big. I think
yeah,
that was a really big hit by the Memphis Grizzlies.
and it worked out because they traded the 29th pick too. They
Right.
could have gotten 29, but that was involved in the Minnesota trade.
Hmm. So this next guy is I doubt very many people listening to this will know that know of this guy's existence, but this is my overall steal of the draft. Bryce McGowens to the Charlotte Hornets. If you don't know who Bryce McGowens is, I encourage you to go watch his tape. He's a freshman coming out of Nebraska. Nebraska was not a very good team last year, but every single time I watch Bryce McGowan's, it's just like watching DeJounte Murray. They're the exact same player. Bryce McGowan's is a professional scorer. He's a three-level scorer, and his defensive tenacity is it's there. He causes havoc in the passing lanes. His hands are super quick. His footwork is amazing, and he's a 6'5", 6'6" guard. Um, I really thought that he should have been taken in the 20s as well, but a lot of people probably weren't as high on him as I was. But this needs to be clipped if he turns out to be as good as I think he will, because I think Bryce McGowan's is legit. So I got two more guys here. The Toronto Raptors picked 33rd, and immediately before they made this pick, I said, this is going to be Christian Koloko, the center out of Arizona. He just fits what the Raptors need. The Raptors need a bigger center. Christian Koloko, 7 feet long, lanky, shot blocker. It just made all the sense in the world. There's not much to really be said about it. It was the right pick. It was the right pick. And for my last guy, a guy who was projected as high as the teens. A lot of drafts, especially early on, had him going in the teens. Maybe he fell to the 20s on draft night. But the New Orleans Pelicans stealing EJ Liddell at 41 was pretty mind-boggling that he fell that far. He's a stretch four, a professional scorer like a lot of these other guys, but he's like a 40% shooter from three. He's solidly built. He's got good footwork for his size, and I really think the Pelicans had a steal with him at 41. I thought about putting them on the winners of my draft just because EJ Liddell fell to them this far.
Yeah.
But yeah, big get for the Pelicans. That's all I really wanted to talk about the draft, man. We saw some small trades, some small movement. We saw the Philadelphia 76ers and the Memphis Grizzlies make a trade.
Yeah.
You want to speak on that for a second?
Yeah, there was no rumors about that trade, any talks with Memphis. It was a 3-team trade with the Blazers and Rockets for Eric Gordon. I think involving Eric Gordon, the 23rd pick, and Matisse Thybulle. But yeah, I think that's a good pickup. I think I'd like that more than drafting anybody, because he's still young. He's 24, adds depth to our bench at the guard spot. He's a good 3-and-D player, which we do need. I really watched him this year. We haven't watched him before, but I think that was really a steal for us, because we got rid of Danny Green's contract, that $10 million, even though he might not play till all year or after the All-Star break. But I think our value for that trade, Anthony Melton, was worth more than whoever we would have got anyway. So I really do like that trade, that we did that trade.
Yeah, I thought DeAnthony Melton was a good get for the Sixers as well. Just like you said, solid 3-and-D guy. You know what you're gonna get from him.
Yeah,
he's got long arms, gets in the passing lanes.
Yeah, he might fit well with Shake Milton if we keep him. Be a really good 1 and 2 off the bench, because I know right now it's Tyrese Maxey and James Harden normally stay in. One of them stays in and the other one goes out. They normally just switch out who's in and out. But I think now with DeAnthony Melton, they might be able to give him a rest at the same time if need be.
Well, yeah, that's a cap on the draft. I thought it was pretty entertaining. Maybe not as eventful as we initially thought.
Yeah.
But still a very entertaining night. And now all eyes are on the free agent market.
Yes.
So Jacob, the rumor mills are popping. What do you got for the people?
I think the biggest one is either Jalen Brunson to the Knicks. He has a lot of, I believe his dad is in the organization. I forgot where, but he has a lot of ties in New York.
Yeah, he's an assistant coach.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a lot of ties in New York. I think they're either going to offer him a 4-year, $100 million contract, and I've seen $115 million too. So, I mean, as for him, I think that's a good pickup for him. I don't know if as many teams would offer him that much. I don't know if Dallas would match it, but it'd be able to match it. So I think that'd be really good. PJ Tucker was supposed to rumored to go to Philly. That's like the favorite to get him. Not anymore since we don't have the cap space and they don't want to trade any. I think it's the MLE room. They don't want to just trade people just to open it, just to sign him. So there's no telling where he's going now. So, but besides that, you got Bradley Beal. Said he just kind of focused on winning. If he has to go somewhere else, he will. But I think he'll stay in Washington. And Zach LaVine rumored to stay in Chicago. So besides that, it might be a toss-up. So with anybody, a few signing trades might happen. Westbrook trying to move his contract, but I don't know who's going to take that on.
Yeah. Well, we knew coming into this offseason that there weren't any super really big hitters on that free agent market. A lot of rotational guys and maybe secondary stars who headlined this free agency. But yeah, I think the most action will probably come via sign and trade if it does. I mean, we even see with a potential free agent, Kyrie Irving, that sign and trade would be the route that is most likely taken if he gets sent to a place like the Lakers, who would be unable to take him on in free agency. But yeah, on paper, this offseason is kind of a dead looking one. But I mean, you see the rumors. New rumors are coming out every day.
Yeah.
And who knows what the next few weeks may bring. I've got a game here revolving around the biggest free agents, and it's called Name Your Price. So basically how this goes is you're going to assume the position of a general manager. I'm going to give you a player, and basically all I want you to do is tell me the amount of years and the amount of money that you would give this player for your team.
Okay.
So and I'll play along with you. And if anyone's watching at home who wants to play along as well, you're of course welcome to. So the first player is Jalen Brunson. We just talked about his rumors with the Knicks a second ago. If you were a GM and you were offering Jalen Brunson a contract in free agency, name your price.
I don't know if I would do the 4-year 100 million. I think I'd go more of I'd say 3-year 75 million. But same, pay every year, but it's not as much. You still get 25 million in case, it don't work out. Because I know he did have a breakout year last year. I think he might have been good before. I really hadn't kept up with him a whole lot until this year. But yeah, I'd say 3-year 75 million.
Well, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I kind of decided around the range of about 4 years, 84 million, which is he's gonna get more than that.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time in free agency, guys of that secondary star caliber are overpaid. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So but no, I would sit around 4 years, 84. Maybe give him a player option for that last year to spice up the deal a little bit. But
yeah,
I'm not going up to 25 for Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah, if it was a 4-year, I'd probably do a team option though, maybe. But well, I'd say a player option probably. Yeah, I probably add that in there
player
too.
option would be more enticing to him.
Yeah, I'd add that in there too.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the second player is DeAndre Ayton, who has been rumored with a couple of teams, including the Detroit Pistons, the Toronto Raptors. Who knows his asking price? The Phoenix Suns likely will not match. That's what we're getting right now. So name your price for DeAndre Ayton.
What's he eligible for? It's like 185 million, I think, 82 million.
Yeah, he's eligible for a max.
Okay. I'll probably give him a 4 year, 150 million. Well, 160. I'll say 160.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it just, yeah, I'd say that. Yeah. What he brings, I'd probably do that.
Wait, say that again?
Like, what he brings to the table as a
No, the
big
contract.
4 year, 160. No, 5 year, 160. I'm sorry.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
I'm
you're paying
sorry.
him
Yeah.
40
Five.
million a year.
Yeah, five. My bad. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
If
Okay. Oh, you threw me off with that.
yeah, I'm at five. Yeah.
Um, I still think that's a little bit of an overpay. I think DeAndre Ayton is great. I think he's a really good player. And he'll probably command a max,
Yeah, he'll probably
in
get
all
more than that
honesty.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, especially from a team like the Raptors or the Detroit Pistons who
Yeah.
have the cap space to give it to him.
Yeah. I've seen that they
But
might back off now since Jalen Duren. And I've heard a lot of Indiana talks for a sign and trade involving Miles Turner.
That would be cool for both teams, honestly.
Yeah.
But DeAndre Ayton, I would go about 4 years, 110 for
Mhm.
DeAndre Ayton. I would sit somewhere around there. I'd sit somewhere around 27 million a year.
Yeah.
Because I think DeAndre Ayton, I think he will be an all-star in this league, but I think anything over 30 is an overpay at this point. And I'll even go on a shorter deal and say like 3 years, like 83.
Yeah.
Just so maybe in that 3 year span he gets to that point where he commands a max. But like I said, he'll probably receive one anyway, just the way the market is.
Yeah.
But
And I know some teams really need a center or would like to move on from their current center. So he's going to get offered a lot more money than he probably should get.
yeah. So that's DeAndre Ayton. The third guy is a guy who I'm very fond of, and that is Anthony Simons. I'm gonna ask you first, what do you think Anthony Simons should command? Name your price.
What is your command?
Yeah. He's a restricted free agent, by the way.
Okay.
So is DeAndre Ayton. But the last two are restricted free agents.
I know he had a really good year last year. MIP candidate. Probably he could have easily gotten it, maybe. I'd say I'd say like a 3 or 4 year deal with, I'll say 75, 70 million. Because he had a really good year last year, but that's 1 year gonna want a lot of money.
Right.
So it kind of just depends. It's like a toss up. He could do that again, or he kind of could just, I know he had a really good stretch this season. So yeah, I'd say about 70, 75. I'd say about 4 years, $75 million.
Okay. Yeah, that's close. That's close to where I'm around. Of course, I'm a guy who watched him every night.
Yeah.
I think he's incredible. I think his potential is through the roof. I think he has the potential to be an all-star in this league. But I've solemnly decided on 480. I'm gonna sit on 480, 20 million a year. I think is good for him. If the Portland Trailblazers, if we can bring him back for 480, I think that's an absolute steal.
Yeah.
I'm very afraid that a rebuilding team is going to overpay for him and potentially steal him away from us. But
who do you think would get him?
As a neutral GM, 480 is, I think, a good asking price.
Yeah. Who do you think would sign him if Portland couldn't, I guess, get him to come back?
Man, I could see a team like, say, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder could be a team who's chomping at the bit for another exciting guard to pair alongside Shea.
Yeah.
And Lou Dort in the backcourt. I mean, you talk about a team like the San Antonio Spurs who are looking to move on from DeJounte Murray for whatever reason I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's
who will have money to blow after that. I mean, hey, if they see Anthony Simons in the open market with an opportunity to steal him away, they may just go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 480 is where I'll sit for Ant. The next guy, the next guy is probably the most controversial. I've seen him get anywhere from close to a super max to get like 15 million a year. The range is super broad with this guy. So I'm very interested to see what you have to say about this. Fourth guy is Miles Bridges. Name your price for Miles Bridges.
Hmm. He was a when he was a candidate for defensive player of the year last year, wasn't he? Or
You're thinking of Mikal Bridges.
no, no, he was. Miles wasn't, or was it
Miles Bridges was definitely not defensive
who?
player.
Okay, I know Mikhail was. Might have been something else I saw.
Very, very different players.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it might have been something else.
He plays
Uh,
for the Hornets.
um,
I'll go ahead and say mine because
yeah,
I've
I gotta
thought
think
about
about
it.
it. Yeah, I gotta think about it.
Yeah, this is a tough one. For Miles Bridges, I go no higher than 4 years, 85. I go no higher than 4 years, 85. And a lot of the deals that I've seen him getting are max 5 year deals, which are anywhere above 5 years, 125,
Yeah,
which I think is pretty ridiculous. Miles Bridges is a really good young player, but his asking price is a max,
yeah,
and I think a team will give him a max just because that's what he's commanding. But me personally, I don't think he's worth anything more than 22, 23. So I sit at about 485, 490,
yeah.
maybe.
I don't think I'd go above 490. I'd probably do anywhere from 75 to 90 in 4 year. Or I'd say maybe 95, maybe, but it's kind of a stretch. I'd do better 4 year 90, 95 deal.
Yeah. Man, these secondary stars are hard to gauge too
Yeah,
because we've seen years, I think specifically to the 2016 offseason where everybody was overpaid and the ripple effect that had on the cap room of certain teams put them in handcuffs for several years down the line, even up until the present day
yeah,
with some of these teams.
yeah.
So
I've experienced some of
it's a
those.
really tricky time.
Because if you try to trade them or dump their contract somewhere, it'd be really hard, as we see with like Tobias Harris and Russell Westbrook right now, players
Right.
like that. So,
Yeah.
or even John Wall, hadn't I think he's played 40 games the last 3 years,
Crazy.
close to that. So,
Crazy to think about. So I got three more guys. The fifth guy is another controversial guy. Um, I'm very interested to see your answer for this one. The fifth guy is Tyler Hero. Name your price for Tyler Hero.
mm, I probably wouldn't go above 60, 65 million, maybe a little
For
bit
how
more.
for how many years?
I'll say 4.
Really?
I don't even know if he's that much, but he's.
Are you not high on Tyler Hero?
I mean, I
Are you
am,
not
but
buying the Tyler Hero stock?
I mean, not really. Okay, I
Are
guess
you
kind
not
of
drinking the Tyler Hero Kool-Aid?
no. I think he might have had a not a down year, but yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
say about
he won six men of
yeah,
the year pretty
yeah,
convincingly.
he did, but
I don't know what you're talking about down here.
not. I mean, not as big as he probably we people thought of early in their season. I'll say that I had higher expectations for him,
Really?
but yeah,
Hmm.
but I'll say around the 60, 70 million range.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, here's my dilemma with Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero has a certain teammate who last offseason got paid 5 years, 90 million. Do you happen to know who that teammate is?
yes,
For those at home
Duncan,
who
yeah,
don't know, that teammate is Duncan Robinson.
yeah,
And Duncan Robinson was a guy who got played off the court in several playoff series. He hardly saw time in their final series against the Boston Celtics. Um, so if I'm Tyler Hero and I see my teammate Duncan Robinson making 5 years, 90 million, I think I'm gonna command a little more than 4 years, 65 million.
Yeah.
So as a neutral GM though, as a neutral GM, I sit around 4 years 90 for Tyler. I sit around 4 years 90 for Tyler Hero
Yeah,
because I think he's a good.
I think max I
I
go 85, maybe.
that's a big step up from 65.
Yeah, as max. I think it just depends on who it was a neutral GM. Yeah. Say I know some teams that offer him a lot more, but neutral, I'll say I'd go 65, 85 range. No more than 85, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess I get some of what you're saying. Tyler Hero, I feel like for Tyler Hero to really command max money, I think before that can happen, I think his playmaking has to take another step. And I mean, he's a young player. He's in his third, fourth year in the league. We've seen his scoring take a huge jump already.
Yeah.
But I think if his playmaking can take a jump, then he'll be able to command that kind of money. But there's a large chance that he gets that this year.
I know he wants to be a starter this year too. So that might contribute to him leaving or something like that. There's rumors saying he wants to get moved to a starter, which I think everybody would maybe, but so his asking price would probably be a lot higher this year. He'll get paid more than Duncan Robinson, I will say, but that's contract still amazes me.
Yeah, 465 is kind of lowballing him.
Yeah, I'll say it's lowball. That's why I don't think I go above 85.
I still think that's a little bit of a lowball, but I get it. I get why you'd be hesitant to pay Tyler Hero. I get it.
Okay, yeah, I'd be hesitant. Yeah, that's what it is.
So two more guys. This guy is kind of tough to gauge as well because he didn't really play at all this past season, and I don't know if his current team will pay him the money that he probably deserves. I've seen a wide range of contracts for this guy, and it's Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton, of course, spent basically the entire last year injured. After averaging 20 plus points the year before, so we know that he's a solid NBA player. He's a solid go-to option. But name your price for Colin Sexton. I'm interested to hear this.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of wide ranges on him. I actually wanted to trade for him before James Harden. I know he was hurt all year, but I think I'd give him a little more than like Jalen Brunson. I'd probably do like a 410 million.
Whoa.
But I'm high on him. So
Whoa.
that's me. I'm high on him. But
whoa.
Or you think he deserves more? Or less?
No, I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite direction.
Less. I'm high. I'm very high on him.
He's coming off of a serious injury. You realize that, right?
Yeah. Okay. With the injury, yeah, I'd do lower money. But if he didn't get injured, I would definitely give him that. But with the injury, yeah, I'd say lower than that. But I'm very high on him.
Quick question. I just want to gauge like your viewpoints on these players. Who do you think is better, Colin Sexton or Terry Rozier?
Colin Sexton.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. So you still sit around 4-110?
Well, the injury, I would go lower, but I still would offer him a lot because I feel like like I said, I'm high on him. I think he's really good, but yeah, I'd go lower for the injury, but yeah, I don't know what range I would go though. It just, like you said, there's a lot of wide ranges you can kind of do for him.
Yeah. But, so here's my dilemma with Colin Sexton. I've seen some other people do this as well, and this may seem a little disrespectful to Colin Sexton because we know he's a great player. We know we know how great he is, but just coming off of an injury and on a Cavs team who kind of took a step forward without him being in the rotation last year.
Right.
I'm going to give him a prove it deal. And if you don't know what a prove it deal is, it's a 1-year deal that basically show us that you're worth the money that you think you deserve.
Yeah.
And so I'll do a prove it deal, which is 1 year for 13 million.
Okay.
Which like it may seem a little disrespectful, but and if I was the Cavs, I would not recommend doing that
yeah,
to him because I think he would be out the door
quick.
as quick as
Yeah.
you could offer it.
Yeah, like I said,
But,
I'm high on him, but I know the injury coming off injury, you never know how a player will be. But
yeah,
the prove it deal probably might be the best thing coming off an injury like that. But
as a neutral GM, I think that's my favorite option. And like I said, it may not be the best option, but I'm of the opinion that if I'm another team, I don't want to take a chance on Colin Sexton for the money that he thinks he deserves.
yeah, I
That's
understand that.
just
Yeah,
me.
I understand that. Yeah, I was coming off an injury. Yeah, 110. A good amount of money like that is questionable, but because say the injuries. Just really depends, I guess, if the team's willing to take that chance on them.
Yeah. And who knows, there may be.
Yeah.
But the last guy is a guy who I expect to be highly coveted by a lot of teams around the league. I think that every team should throw this player an offer. He's not a secondary star. He's just a super solid role player, excels in his role, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. And that guy's Tyus Jones. What name your price for Tyus Jones?
I'm not sure. Because I know he's a backup this year, but he could probably very well be a star. I think he had the best turnover to assist.
I think he could be a starting. I think he could be a starting point guard on the championship team.
Really,
I think that you could have plugged him in with that Boston Celtics team as the point guard, and I think that they still would have went to the NBA Finals.
I'm not real sure. It's like a wide range you can do, but I'm not sure on this one. I'll let you go first.
Okay. So for Tyus Jones, he's like I said, he's definitely not of that secondary star tier.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't think he commands anything above 17, 18 million. Me personally, I am very high on him just because, like I said, I think he excels in his role perfectly. I think he's actually a solid defender. He's a little undersized, but I think he just does so many good things on the floor. And so I would probably sit at about 3 years, 45 million for Tyus Jones. That's where I would go for him. I'd go about 15 million a year.
I think that's fair. I was thinking 4 year, 60, 65, but it's same range, I guess.
Yeah.
But I really like him. But I think he had the best. I think it was the turnover to assist ratio or assist turnover ratio in the league. I think.
Yeah, just super consistent.
Yeah, very good playmaker. Like I said, it is size. We've watched him before, in person. Yeah, I'd say about the 65 range.
Well, those are all the guys who for the name your price game. Like I said, I think every single one of those guys will probably get more money than we just gave them here.
Yeah.
But that's just how it goes in the NBA market. We have no idea what these players actually command. We have no idea what these GMs are thinking.
Yeah.
For all we know, Miles Bridges at this time next week could be prepared to sign a 5-year, $170 million contract.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like the Duncan Robinsons, the Tobias Harris players, contracts really too big. But you never know.
And that's another thing with Bradley Beal that I wanted to bring up too. I didn't put Bradley Beal on this list, but let's go ahead and do him as well, because if you don't know about Bradley Beal, if he stays with the Washington Wizards, he is set to sign a supermax, and it would be the biggest supermax deal of all time.
Yeah, I saw that. It was, I want to say it was I forgot how much, but yeah, it was.
It was like 250.
Yeah, it was up there.
Yeah, but just the fact that Bradley Beal, who's a great player, he's an all-star, but it is Bradley Beal who's set to sign the biggest contract of all time. So name your price for a Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. I wouldn't do the Supermax. I just personally I wouldn't.
I get it. I
You
get it.
would? Okay.
I get why you wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd say I don't know. It's
You want me to go first?
yeah,
Because I've got my number set.
yeah.
I'll go 5 years, 180 for Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I was in the
I'll sit about 35, 36 million.
I was between 175 and 190. I was between
Yeah.
that range, but
I think that's fair because Bradley Beal was I think he was the leading scorer, or he was the second leading scorer in the NBA last year.
yeah, I think it was
And
above
he-
30. I think it
Yeah.
was yeah.
He averaged like almost 32 points a game.
Yeah.
And the year before he averaged over 30 points a game that year. So he's an elite scorer. He his playmaking has much improved. He's an all-star starter pretty much whenever he's playing the entire season. But I think 5 years, 180 is a good spot for him to land. And of course the Washington Wizards have that attachment to Bradley Beal. He's been a lifer for them. So I highly expect them to overpay. I think that they will give him that deal.
Yeah, I think they're gonna offer it to him.
Which maybe raises some eyebrows, but he's kind of all that they've got going for them right now. So
Unless you're
kinda-
high on Kuzma, but
kind of in a tough situation there.
yeah.
But yeah, he's a super tricky one to gauge. But
Like I said, I know he's committed to Washington, but he's brought up winning lately as a main factor where he goes to if he has a good chance to win, which
Yeah.
in Washington hadn't been there for a few years, or I won't say a few years, but
since John
Yeah.
Wall kind of fizzled out.
yeah,
So you might have said this at the beginning of this episode. The main other landing spot for him would be Miami. And I think Miami would be a cool spot for Bradley Beal. You would probably have to let Duncan Robinson go, and that would probably be a thing via sign and trade.
yeah. I've seen a few
Like
of
we
those.
said.
Yeah, I've seen a few of signing trades with Robinson. I don't know what teams would take that contract.
And I was about to
That's
say
the only
a deal based around, it would have to be Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson.
Mhm.
And a deal based around that. Me personally, I don't know how many teams are taking that deal. But I mean, hey, who knows?
Yeah,
You throw some picks onto it, and you throw in another team, two more teams, make it a 4-team trade. You throw in some higher value picks.
yeah,
Any trade can get done.
yeah.
And
that's true.
the crazy thing about the NBA today in this player empowerment era is if Bradley Beal came out tomorrow and said that he wanted to play for the Miami Heat, he would end up on the Miami Heat some way,
For sure.
somehow.
For sure.
He would get there.
I've seen it be like it'd be Duncan, Tyler, maybe Kyle. It'd probably be anybody except Bam and Jimmy. Everybody
What-
else would be available.
What is Kyle Lowry's trade value at this point?
Mm,
Because
it's not
I
as
mean,
high as it was, but
he's pushing it in age, and
yeah, it's definitely not as high as it has been before. I don't know because I think he's still a good starter, but it's getting to that point where it's kind of not for too much longer. I think.
I think Miami is where he belongs. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think Miami is where he belongs. But that's all the free agency stuff that I wanted to talk about. Unless you wanted to talk about something else.
And that's about it. I think we covered everybody that's gonna make a big splash this offseason.
Yeah, and I mean the next week or two is bound to throw some curveballs at us. There'll probably be some names thrown out that we had never expected to be thrown out. So the next 2 weeks should be interesting.
Yep.
Hopefully, we said the same thing about the draft. I hope that there is player movement. I hope that there is some significant player movement, because if we get an off season where everybody kind of stays, man, that's kind of boring.
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of trades this offseason too.
Yeah.
I think can teams still trade right now since the draft is over?
They can.
They can. Okay, I didn't know if there's like another date. I know free agency is July 1st. That's when teams can start negotiating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'd be. I think it'd be more blockbuster trades than sign free agent. Well, it just depends, I guess.
Yeah. There's no way for us to really tell right now. The next few weeks will be telling, and we'll be here to cover it. I just wanted to say thank you also for the support on the
Yes.
first
Thank you,
video.
guys.
Yeah, I did not expect it to even reach triple digits, and for the last time I checked, for it to be over 150.
Yeah, it's like 160, I think, around there.
Yeah,
Might be more.
that's a big deal for us, man. Because we love doing this, and just to see that many people tuned in to watch us, even if it was just for a second, even if you didn't watch the entire thing, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
Just big ups to y'all. We got a lot of love and appreciation for the support that y'all show.
Yeah, it was a lot more than expected.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
So we'll be back in a couple of days throughout the midweek, most likely. Hopefully, fingers crossed, some exciting things go down to give us some big topics to talk about. But until then, signing out. See y'all then.
Yeah.
Peace.